In this video, we're going to learn how to use Keynote on the iPad and iOS to create a HotSpot image presentation similar to something you might find on a popular website, ThingLink.
What we've created here is a Keynote lesson, so it's really just a simple slide deck. And when I started with my home page or my landing page. In this case, we're talking about a table of elements. And we're really trying to replicate that same idea that you might see in ThingLink, where you have a particular image with some hotspots that you can get more information when you tap on them. So I started with this first page, my landing page, and then the second page I started with was kind of what the other pages would look like. So in this case, I brought my table of elements in here and just zoomed in on a particular part. I brought in an arrow. I brought in a text box where the students would type their text. And then the last thing I did was a page that linked back, or a text box that linked back to the original page. So that's all I did to start with. You'll notice on this main page, I have some dots that overlay on top of those. I'll talk about those in just a moment. But basically, when I get to this page, what I started by doing was tapping on this, using the link button, and then making sure that I link to slide number 1, which is my landing page. Great. So now whenever I tap on that periodic table of elements text box, it's going to take me back to that page. Then what I did was I just made a bunch of copies of this. So I copied and then pasted. And then I would move around what I needed to move. So let's just say that I was using this part of the image here. And we are going to focus on cerium. All right, good. So that's good. I've moved my image around. Then I just moved my little piece here. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. The students would put that information there. But my link stays active, which is the key. And then the last part would be, I'm just going to use one of these dots. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to move it to wherever I need to move it on the page. So this one's by cerium. And then I'm going to use the link on it, and I'm just going to move it to the correct slide. So when you're doing that, you want to kind of make sure you're on the right slide. So you can see that's slide 6. Okay, so we zoom in a little bit, tap on it, link to slide. Instead of 5, I move it to 6. Good. Okay, so now here's the moment of truth. How does it work? When I hit the play button, doesn't look like anything different, but if I use the dots, it's going to move me to the correct slide, and when I use this, it's going to move me back to my main periodic table of elements landing page. So you can make as many of these as you want. It's got a ThingLink type look to it. Now, if I wanted to, I could just go through the slides without clicking on any of the links. But the general idea, at least from a presentation lens, is you use your links to navigate through it like it is software. And just one little addition on that last point. So something I did find in the settings that we could mess with here. So in my typical setup, students could get thrown off if all of a sudden they're like, how did I get here? And now my whole presentation is shot and I've lost context of where I am. So what we can do in the settings is, because this is driven by, once we've got all of our links set up, this is really driven by clicking on the correct link. They can tap that 3 dots at the top. We're going to use the settings button here, that wrench near the bottom. We're going to change the presentation type, and we'll use it as links only. So now if I do the same thing, and I know you can't see me doing this, but I'm tapping on the side, I cannot advance unless I click on something that has a link to it. It's the only way to move around. So of course you'd want to make sure your links were good before you did this, but this would actually resolve that issue, and students would only be able to share with you links, or only be able to click on it with links. So hopefully that answers that question. So that's what I am doing with Keynote to kind of represent ThingLink. So the final part of this is, how do we turn this in so the teacher can view it? And there's really two options. If you use AirDrop, then it's pretty simple for you to share this over. So we can go and share it, use AirDrop and AirDrop it to the teacher. That'd be the simplest way to do it. If that doesn't work, though, if you use Classroom to do this, we could do the same thing. So we would share it out. And there's either two formats you could use. If we want to share it as a Keynote presentation, which the teacher would then have to view on their device and download to view it, that would keep all of your links active. You could go to Classroom. You could attach it to the assignment, called whatever the assignment was called. You can see there it's uploading, and then we can it's added the attachment there. So that's one way to turn it in if you want to make sure that the teacher can see all the links and click on all the links. The other option through Classroom, three dots, instead we're going to export it as a PDF. This will not keep the links, but the teacher can see all of the slides. So we'll do Classroom again. We're going to attach it to the assignment. It's attaching there. Great, and we'll turn that in. So I've got two different types of files that I've attached. Now I'll show you what it looks like on the teacher side. Here I am on my Mac as the teacher. My student has turned in their work. So I come into my stream. I'm going to go take a look at the assignment that's there. Here I can see that my student side has attached them. I'm going to show you the two different ways that you can look at it. So the first one that we did was a Keynote type file. And in order to view that, so it doesn't look like anything here, in order to view that, I would need to download it and then open it. And as long as Keynote is installed on my computer, I can play it and have the full access to it, the way that the student intended or the way that the student presented it. If that is a little bit too much extra work and then really having it click through isn't the most important piece, then we can come to this PDF version, which is the second way that I showed. And so here you can see, okay, this is the first page and it's just really the slide deck. The links don't work in this case, but you can at least see the content. And that can be open right within Google Classroom. So that's a lot easier, less work for the teacher, and the teacher can then just do their grading and comments here and move forward. So either of those will work as a way to turn it in when you're using Keynote through the Google Classroom interface.